In this massive, world changing race to adopt artificial intelligence, what if the best strategy isn't to go big? What if it's to think small? Today, we're diving into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive way to make AI actually work inside your organization.
Okay, so we're living in this really strange time for AI, right? On one hand, you see these mind-blowing public demos that seem to promise the entire world. But on the other hand, so many companies are just struggling to get any real value from them. So what's going on here? Why is there this huge gap between the hype and the reality? Let's break it down.
Right? And this really gets to the heart of the problem. The promise is it's incredible. You've got AI agents that can supposedly think and plan, models that can write original songs, tools that whip up detailed reports in minutes. But the reality for a lot of internal teams, it's something called prototype hell. These are projects that look awesome in a demo, but then they become these fragile, unreliable systems that have like zero actual impact on the business.
Now, here's the really wild part. The demand for AI inside companies is absolutely there. The proof? It's this idea of a shadow AI economy. All over the world, right now, employees are using their own personal AI accounts to get their jobs done better and faster. They are not waiting around for some big official company-wide solution. Nope, they're solving their own problems today.
So that brings us to the big question. Why do so many of these ambitious, top-down AI projects just get stuck in the mud? It's time to really diagnose what's happening inside prototype hell.
Look, the issue isn't that the AI models are dumb, not at all. The problem is that when you try to build a huge, complex system around an AI, the whole thing becomes incredibly brittle. It acts like a black box. Good luck trying to debug it. Its performance just tanks when you try to connect it to other corporate tools. It can't remember context from one minute to the next. So let's be super clear. The AI itself isn't the weak link. It's the fragile, complicated system we're trying to build around it. All right, so if building these giant systems is the problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where we just flip the script completely. It's time to think small. Instead of trying to boil the ocean with some massive all-in-one AI platform, the most effective way forward is the exact opposite. We need to narrow our focus, dramatically, almost uncomfortably, narrow it. And this brings us to the core concept of this whole thing, the wedge. A wedge is not a platform. It's not a big system. Think of it like a small, sharp tool. It's a hyper-focused solution designed to solve one single, painful, nagging problem for a really small group of people, maybe even for just one person. And the goal? To do it absolutely perfectly.
Now here's the secret sauce. The key to a successful wedge isn't just finding a problem, it's finding the right person. You're looking for the change agent. You know who I'm talking about. That sales manager who's wasting half their day cleaning up messy data, or that support lead who has to manually read and sort every single customer ticket. These are the people who are already trying to find a better way. You build for them first.
And this is exactly why this approach is so brilliant for AI. It solves the trust problem head on. By starting with a tiny user group, you create this really tight feedback loop. You can fix bugs on the fly, you can refine the output, and you can build genuine confidence in a totally controlled environment, long before you even think about scaling up. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. We built a tiny tool for one person. So what? How does that turn into some big company-wide strategy? Well, this is where the wedge becomes part of something much, much bigger. To really get the long-term play here, you've got to understand that there's been a fundamental shift in business software. For decades, the whole game was about being the system of record. The giant database like a Salesforce or an SAP, where all the important data lives. But that's not the prize anymore. The new battleground, the real prize today, is to become the system of action. This isn't a system that just stores data. Oh no. This is an intelligence layer that actually uses the data to do work, to automate tasks, and to be an active part of the workflow. So, how do you become that system of action? You do it with a data Trojan horse. See, your little wedge tool isn't just solving a problem. While it's giving that immediate value to the user, it's also sitting right in the middle of a critical workflow, quietly collecting a unique proprietary stream of data that nobody else has access to. And this kicks off an incredibly powerful positive growth cycle. Your tool gives value, so people use it. That use generates unique data. You use that data to train and improve your AI model, which makes the tool even more valuable, which gets more people to use it. This cycle just keeps reinforcing itself until pretty soon your tool becomes absolutely indispensable. Okay, so let's boil all of this down into a clear, actionable playbook. These are the key principles for using this think small strategy to finally escape prototype hell. First, and most important, start with one. Before you even dream of building a platform, solve a real nagging problem for one single person and solve it better than anything else. That's your foundation. Second, find your champions. Don't waste your time trying to convince the skeptics. Instead, you go find those proactive change agents, the people who are already tinkering with AI on their own. They're going to be your first adopters and your biggest advocates. Third, go look for the pain. Every single organization has what you could call a messy inbox, some chaotic flow of unstructured data from emails or PDFs or support tickets that someone has to manually sort through. That painful bottleneck, that's your gold mine. That is the perfect place to plant your wedge. Fourth, you have to build that feedback loop from day one. Design your tool so that the more it gets used, the smarter it gets. That private stream of data becomes your long-term defensible competitive advantage. Fifth, aim to do work, not just show work. The ultimate goal isn't another dashboard that just presents analysis. The goal is to become a system of action that actually performs tasks and takes ownership of an entire workflow. And finally, number 6, prioritize reliability over raw capability. A simple tool that works perfectly every single time will always beat a brilliant but brittle system that fails unexpectedly. With AI, trust isn't just important, it's everything. So at the end of the day, the teams that are really going to succeed with AI, they won't be the ones chasing the fanciest, most advanced models. They're going to be the ones who master the strategy. Start with one real problem, capture that unique data, and then expand steadily and thoughtfully from there. Which really just leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. Forget the grand 5-year vision for a moment. Inside your team, in your company, right now, what is the single most painful problem that you could start solving today?